Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X research and professional physicist. And today I'd like to bring to you another one of my articles. This one is entitled Planet X Debris Field and Water Clouds. Now, Figure 1 shows a Planet X system stellar core surrounded in what appears to be an enormous debris field. The objects in the debris field seem to all be surrounded in a cloud-like material. You can see this lighter material around these darker objects. And as you see in the next figure, you see another Planet X system stellar core, which turned out to be about 4 times larger than the Sun, which is also surrounded in a huge debris field. And so let's look at that. This is it. So you see this huge Planet X system stellar core with within a CME. You can see the CME draping across the surface of the object, and the jets of the Sun just in front of it, some of it going over the object. And you may look at Article 321 entitled Huge Planet X Star in the Inner Solar System for more details on that. On this object, it seemed to be about 4 times larger than the Sun. But the object seems to be surrounded in debris, and the debris seems to be in the same form as we saw in the other image. Dark objects surrounded in this lighter material, which seems to be cloud-like. And if we look here, we can see that the outer corona seems to have a lot of these in it. In fact, when we look here, we can see they are separate objects surrounded in this cloud-like material. And what seems to be here is just so much. They are so pressed together that the whole of the Sun's corona seems to be covered in this cloud-like material. So this debris, all these pieces of debris seem to be covered or surrounded in this cloud-like material. Now, Planet X system objects are depleted in gravitational energy, which gives them low gravitational influence. And you may look at Article 452 entitled Planet X objects are destroyers with low gravitational influence, which is why such large objects can enter the solar system with no apparent disruption of the planet's orbits around the Sun. They have also been observed traversing the Sun inside the Sun's corona at a speed much lower than the Sun's escape velocity, which clearly shows that gravity is not what we have been taught. The strength of the gravitational attraction is dependent on the gravitational photon energy or light within the particles making up a celestial object. And you may look at Book 3 entitled Planet X Reveals Gravity and Light for more details. In addition, the object behave like protons interacting through the strong interaction in the nucleus, because the gravitational and the strong interactions are one and the same interaction. And you may look at Article 514 entitled Stellar Cores or Gravitational Poles or Super Protons. So this is what these clouds seem to look like. A lot of them seem to have this toroidal shape. You can see the object inside, in the middle of this toroidal shaped cloud. There are some pieces that seem to be completely covered and have some irregular shapes. And this is likely because we would have most of the matter would come from inside the planet, and it would be positively charged. It would attract this cloud-like material, and there may be pieces which are neutral, no charge, and these ones would not attract the materials. Probably only a few, because as we can see, there are so many. They're just everywhere. There are objects covered in this cloud-like material. Now, the reason for my thinking that, and this is what I said here, in this article, in Article 507 entitled Planet X Captured Atmospheres and Clouds on Earth, I wrote about the fact that since most of the debris was positively charged as it comes from the interior of the planet, it would be likely to attract atmospheric material which is found in a planet's or star's atmosphere. I then concluded that these clouds come from the Sun's corona. One of these objects has been observed attracting corona from the sun. However, it now seems more likely that the objects arrive in the solar system already enveloped in this cloud-like material, because they would not be able to get very close to the sun into the inner corona unless they had gained some gravitational energy. So see, these seems to be objects that are suspended in the sun's outer corona, do not have the gravitational energy to get any closer to the sun. And it's possibly the center part, the core, that actually goes into the sun's corona and absorbs material there. And this is most likely the debris, or mostly the debris. It could be some of the objects are actually stellar cores as well. Now, so I then concluded that these clouds came from the sun's corona, but now I think it's actually more likely that the objects arrive in the solar system with that material around them. And the reason for my thinking that is that I now understand that the objects which are large enough will be gathering positive ion plasma from the sun or another solar system object. It is only the smaller ones that gather atmosphere. And this is due to the fact that they seem to only be able to attract material which has slightly less gravitational potential than they do. And you may look at article 518 entitled Planet X and Gravitational Tuning. So it is likely that the Planet X cores divest themselves of the cloudy material they are surrounded in once they manage to attract a more compatible material from a living celestial object within the solar system. But they arrive in the solar system with this covering. The debris pieces which are positively charged would also be covered in it. And here you can see a stereo A core 2 image where you can see this debris is there as well, even though they have tried to smooth out the image and make the appearance of this cloud-like material, these objects surrounding this cloud-like material, very difficult to discern. It is still visible, especially in this section here. This is this cloud-like material that surrounds these objects, the debris fields, possibly the smaller stellar cores themselves that have gone to the sun. So there is no large stellar core, though, around. And so this suggests that the Planet X system stellar cores leave their debris behind, and it remains suspended in the sun's outer corona as they enter the sun's inner corona and absorb energy from the sun, causing a huge amount of debris to accumulate around the sun. It is likely that space around the Earth and the Earth's atmosphere is also filled in the same type of material, since the objects are clearly coming to the Earth in larger and larger numbers, as evidenced by the increasing number of earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. And you may look at Article 501 entitled Planet X-Induced Volcanic Eruptions Are Like an Earth CME. But what could the cloud-like material be? It is obviously low density. We know that clouds found on Earth seem to be made of water. Could these be clouds made of water? What is supposed to be solid at zero pressure and temperatures close to 0 Kelvin, which is the temperature it would be at in space. However, this water comes from energy-depleted planets and stars, and so it will be low in gravitational potential. So it is possible that as a result, the gravitational force between atoms is so much lower than normal that the water does not freeze into the solid phase in space conditions, but that instead it forms a cloud. A cloud is actually made of tiny water droplets. It is not gaseous. It is thus likely that these clouds formed when the Planet X system planets broke apart as a result of their energy depleted state, which then caused liquid water on the planet to lose cohesion, in other words, gravitational attraction, due to its new low energy state, which then caused the water to break up into tiny droplets. Then, since the water molecule is polarized, the negative side attached to the positively charged debris through the electric interaction, thus forming clouds around the stellar cores and the debris pieces. Since clouds are seen surrounding these objects in space and are seen inside the Earth's atmosphere, we can only conclude that the water clouds in our atmosphere are coming in from space and contain water from the Planet X system. This then explains why water, which is much denser than air, can remain suspended in the form of a cloud from hours to days in the Earth's atmosphere. The clouds are made of gravitational energy deficient water, which takes time to absorb energy in order to get to a potential that will allow it to reach the surface of the Earth. And this is the diagram which illustrates that gravitational potential increases with depth, or as we move towards the center of the Earth. And matter, which is in the body of the Earth, is positively charged and dense. It's basically rock and has a high gravitational potential. The surface would have a surface gravitational potential which would be lower, and matter on the surface would be neutral, positive on the inside, negative on the outside. And the same would be for these objects. Matter, which comes from the inside of these planets that broke up, would be positively charged. But because they are energy depleted, and that's why they broke apart, they would have much less gravitational potential than matter, which occurs inside the Earth. So we could have pieces of rock that have the density as matter that we find in the body of the Earth, but have the gravitational potential of matter that on Earth is only found in the atmosphere. And the same would go for water that could be found on the surface of the Earth and even inside the Earth, because it has high gravitational potential, higher than the surface. But yet the water that comes from these planets is depleted in gravitational energy, so it has low gravitational potential. And therefore, when it enters the Earth's atmosphere, it remains suspended. It remains where matter, or gaseous matter in the atmosphere of that particular gravitational potential, is usually found in the Earth's atmosphere. And you may look at Article 508 entitled Planet X Debris Suspended in Earth's Atmosphere for more details. It is true that the powers that be have found a way of producing artificial clouds through chemtrails, but it seems that the clouds that have been seen in our atmosphere for thousands of years are coming from outside our atmosphere, and they would also have started coming in at the time of the Great Flood cataclysm. And you may look at Article 515 entitled Current Cataclysm Engulfing the Earth Started at the Great Flood. The fact that rainbows are observed in the Earth's atmosphere from the surface can only be possible if there is water droplets suspended in the Earth's atmosphere, which can only be Planet X water. And you may look at Article 528 entitled Fake Double Rainbow in the Sky and Planet X Rain. And that's because the current rainbows we are seeing are not real rainbows, because there's one thing missing, not the water, but the light from the sun. The sun's no longer shining. You may look at Article 500 for details on that. Now, the process through which Planet X water absorbs energy inside the Earth's atmosphere must involve the absorption of electrons from the Earth's atmosphere, and most likely it means that there is an exchange of electrons. The water gains free electrons from the Earth's atmosphere, and the low gravitational energy electrons leave the water and form free, and thus become free electrons. These free electrons will then absorb light in order to equalize their potential to the environment at their particular altitude. The absorbed electrons will most likely emit light as they release excess energy in order to settle in a certain energy level, which would cause the water cloud to seem to become luminescent. Noctilucent clouds are high-altitude luminescent clouds, which seem to have first been noticed in the upper atmosphere in 1850, and are thus the result of Planet X water in cloud form entering the Earth's atmosphere. And you may look at Article 272 entitled Noctilucent Clouds and Planet X Debris in the Earth's Atmosphere. In conclusion, water clouds on Earth, which have been observed in our atmosphere for thousands of years, seem to come from space and to be made of low gravitational energy water, and thus a part of the Planet X system debris debris fields. And these are the references. This is Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X physicist. Thank you for watching.